Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Grab your coffee, maybe tea, definitely a snack, and let's get into it. So today what we're going to be talking about is the Inflation Reduction Act. And this was brought to me by a community member, and I'm like, why not? And so the Democrats, their Inflation Reduction Act, okay, which according to the Congressional Budget Office, will raise taxes on the middle class to the tune of $20 billion. Yeah. And this includes me and you, okay? And so just put on your seatbelts, because I don't think any of us are ready for this. Not to mention, they're going to unleash an army of IRS agents. I think it was to the 87,000 new IRS agents, and now they're armed. Yeah, it's a joke. It really is. It's a serious joke. And it's like, what are you gonna do? Come to my house? Stick them up, pew pew. And they're going to release them on us, on the working class Americans, over the next decade. And this was made possible by Billy Boy, and in smaller part, Larry Summers, who has been known to hang out together. All right. Now, in a Tuesday Bloomberg article that reads more like a newsletter for the Billy Boy fan club. Okay. The billionaire Microsoft co-founder, he recalls how earlier this year, a moderate Democratic senators Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, Sinema, continued to block the tax and spend legislation over concerns that it would raise taxes on the middle class, which it will. And Gates said he tapped into a relationship with Manchin that he'd been cultivating since at least 2019. Oh, brava! You have succeeded admirably, have you not, Billy Boy? No. So, Billy Boy, he's been banking on more than just his trademark optimism about addressing climate change and other seemingly intractable problems that have been his focus, his, what do you want to call it, his desires, his everything, his coup de grace, since stepping down as Microsoft's chief executive 2 decades ago. As he revealed to Bloomberg's Green, he has quietly lobbied Manchin and other senators, starting before Potato had won the White House, in anticipation of a rare moment in which heavy federal spending might be secured for the clean energy transition. And those discussions gave him reason to believe the senator from West Virginia would come through for the climate, and he was willing to continue pressing the case himself until the bitter end. 6. The last month, people felt like, okay, we're tired, we're done. It failed, Billy Boy said. I believed it was a unique opportunity, so he tapped into a relationship with Manchin that he cultivated for at least 3 years. We were able to talk even at a time when he felt people were not listening. And this was according to Bloomberg. Now, I know, gag me with a spoon, right? But Apparently, Billy Boy and Manchin's bromance, right, began when the billionaire wooed the West Virginia senator at a 2019 meal in Seattle. And this was all in an effort to garner support for the clean energy policy. And Manchin at the time was a senior most Democrat on the Energy Committee. All right. Now, after Manchin walked again on the bill last December over concerns that it would exacerbate the national debt and inflation, the pandemic, and amid geopolitical uncertainty with Russia, Billy Boy, once again, he jumped into action. And a few weeks later, he met with Manchin and his wife, Gail Manchin, at a DC restaurant. It's like he follows him, like a lost puppy. Where they talked about what West Virginia needed. Because Billy Boy, he knows what everybody needs, right? No, he doesn't even know what he needs. But Manchin understandably wanted to preserve jobs at the center of the U.S. coal industry, while Billy Boy suggested that coal plant workers could simply swap over to nuclear plants. Jeez, God. Such as those from Gates Terra Power. And Manchin apparently wasn't convinced. And announcing on February 1st that the Build Back Better, the Inflation Reduction Act's previous iteration, was dead, right? And in an effort to convince him otherwise, the Democrats pulled together a cadre of economists and other Manchin influencers, including former Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers, who convinced Manchin that the bill wouldn't raise taxes on the middle class or add to the deficit. Now, Colin O'Mara, a chief executive officer of the National Wildlife Federation, recruited economists to Manchin's concerns, including representatives from the University of Chicago and the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. And Wharton is W-H-A-R-T-O-N. And Senator Chris Coons of Delaware brought in a heavyweight. And this was former Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers, who spent decades advising the Democrats. And the economists, they were able to send this signal that the bills were going to help with the deficit. And O'Mara said it's going to be slightly deflationary, and it's going to spur growth and investment in all these areas. Now, through this subtle alchemy, clean energy investments could be refrained from Manchin as the hedge against future spikes in oil and gas prices, and a way to potentially export more energy to Europe. All right, and this is according to Bloomberg, like I said. Now, Billy Boy also sprang into action once again. He's got like springs on his shoes, again on July 7th, when Manchin was spotted at a Sun Valley media conference in Idaho, which Billy Boy was there, okay? And he said, we had a talk about what was missing, what needed to be done. And then after that, it was a lot of phone calls. Can you imagine sitting in your lazy boy on the phone with Billy Boy? God. So, Gates looked back at the new law with satisfaction. He achieved what he set out to do, apparently. And he said, I will say that it's one of the happier moments of my climate work. Right. I have two things that excite me about climate work. One is when policy gets done well, and this is by far the biggest moment like that. His other pleasure comes from interviewing people at climate and clean tech startups. I hear about this amazing new way to make steel, cement, and chemicals. And he said, I don't want to take credit for what went on. You're an ass. Anyway. This is... And this Inflation Reduction Act was brought to you secretly by Billy Boy. It's disgusting. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping. And as always,